Hello and welcome to your astrological forecast for June 2023. If you like the video, press the like button, and if you want to become a subscriber, the subscriber button. It all helps spreading the word of astrology. Okay, so I'm recording this on the 1st of June. So we've got through May, which was some tricky astrological waters, particularly with Mars, Jupiter and Pluto, all aspecting each other in the sky, and a lunar eclipse as well to deal with. But hey ho, we've got through, and it's interesting because of course I think when we go into June, the Sun for the majority of the month is in Gemini, and so it has this kind of fluctuating energy around it. And we're into the last stages of in the northern hemisphere of spring. And so this could be a really kind of busy month traditionally. Lots happening, lots of activity. We're heading towards the summer solstice with one of the longest days. So the days are long and people want to get out there and socialize and be really active. So it's a very sort of busy period in time. And we start off the first astrological major event is on the 4th of June, which is on a Sunday, which is the full moon that we have around about 13 degrees in Sagittarius. Interesting, obviously, the moon's ebb and flow in Sagittarius is kind of almost accentuating that restless kind of energy that this combination usually brings out. So it's an energy that needs to be released and put into some form. I'm betting a lot of people book the holidays around this time, but I think for a majority of us all, it's going to just feel like a kind of wanting to create a new vision for the future, or certainly feeling quite optimistic and a real sense of just that, as I said, that restlessness, that curiosity that I think is really kind of important. So that's the first kind of major astrological energy that we're dealing with. Then on the 5th, following on from that, Venus goes into Leo. Venus is quite stabilized in Leo. It can really kind of operate in a really kind of good way. I like the energy. It's obviously joining with Mars as well. It's in Leo, which I'll talk about in a bit. But Leo's a fixed sign. Venus likes to be in signs that energetically can hold that planetary activity of how we relate to others and how we socially engage with other people. So I think that's going to be quite an exciting kind of move energetically. But here's the big first news. On the 11th, Pluto, which since the end of March has been in Aquarius, so our first kind of murmurs of what Pluto is going to be like when it goes finally into Aquarius next year, it goes back into Capricorn. And it will remain there until January 2024. So this is the kind of the hangover cure, if you like, from all of the issues that have come up since 2008. Now, what does that mean? It means that we get a little bit of a replay of some of the big issues that we've experienced since 2008 up until Pluto was in Capricorn in March of this year. So familiar faces make it a little bit of a comeback here, particularly politically. People like Donald Trump in the US, or Boris Johnson in the UK suddenly becoming very prominent in the news, or decide to make comebacks. So it's these kind of archetypal figures, if you like, that have become sort of the beacons. Actually, beacon is probably the wrong word to use with these kind of people. I'd say figures that have encapsulated everything that Pluto in Capricorn was about, which was about the essence of unearthing the kind of underworld or the underbelly of governmental institutions that have been stabilized or not being able to be necessarily seen for the reality that it is. So it's like the creators of smashing down the illusions, whether you are you accept that or whether you are against what the principle, doesn't really kind of matter in the context of this. What it matters is that these people who have challenged the preconceptions of what it means to be a politician, what it means to be an economic expert, what it means to be in the media, those people that were challenging suddenly make a bit of a comeback. And the reason why, it may be because from their perception that they think, you know what, I'm going to make a comeback because I need to tidy up this kind of town. Actually, it's more about them kind of realizing what they have created while they were in positions of authority. And so that marked period of things that happened between 2008 and 2023, March 2023, people, you will feel like, God, we're going back into that. But it's really kind of to tie up the loose ends. It's really about understanding what we've got to do in order to move forward, which will be primarily 2024 January, when Pluto goes back into Aquarius. So you could kind of, so this is going to be a bit of a planetary jolt on the 11th as Pluto goes back in there. On the same day, Mercury enters Gemini. Well, Mercury's really happy in Gemini, so that kind of works. It's in its rulership, so it can function. So there's a lot of news, a lot of gossip, a lot of information at that time that's going to be out and about, and people are going to have to kind of accept and feed to other people. So lots of information going on. And that kind of also is typified by the Mars in Leo that we've got now. Again, Leo being a fixed sign, Mars can be quite direct, quite almost assertive, I would say, in the energy of Leo. It's not going to mess about. So you've got that as well. So we got some home truths being really spoken about at this particular time. And with Mercury and Gemini is very much, high on the communication radar, very sure of itself in terms of how it communicates, but also is more about the big picture and less about the detail aspect of things here as well. On the 17th, Saturn goes retrograde. So this is the first time that Saturn has gone retrograde in Pisces since it ingressed into Pisces on the 7th of March. So this is really going to affect people who were born in the early degrees of Pisces, from 19th of February till around about the sort of 26th, 27th of February. Those early degrees Virgos, August the 23rd to the roundabout the 1st of August. The Sagittarians, the sort of 23rd of November to around about the 1st of December. They're going to be really affected. And early degrees of Geminis, 21st of May up until that kind of 1st of June. Those people are going to be really kind of affected by this Saturn retrograde. So this might feel for a lot of you born in those 4 astrological signs, mutable signs, of like, okay, needing to take a step back, needing to sort of look at decisions you've made since the early part of March, since Saturn went into Pisces, and how are they going to filter and how are they going to be pragmatic for the future. That's really kind of what you're looking at here. So there's quite a lot sort of coming up. And then straight afterwards on the 18th, you got a new moon in Gemini at 26 degrees. Very, very nice. The only problem with that is it's squaring Neptune here. So it's a little bit of a nebulous, not based necessarily in reality, new moon. new information, new things come into light at that time that we're not clear about. We're not sure about how that actually is going to transpire. It's a bit of a funny new moon, actually, that one. With that Neptunian energy, it doesn't quite sort of work in the sense of it's not clear. Anything to do with the moon absorbs, reflects. So, if a planet is hitting a new moon or a full moon, it magnifies that kind of moon-based energy. So, what are we absorbing out there? And it's interesting because I think Neptune is very much, a ruler of, films and advertising and media in a lot of ways. Selling a dream and stuff like that, selling an illusion. We watch these adverts, don't we, of, buy this sofa and you will feel fantastic and feel like this, and everyone jumps around the fantastic big kitchens and goes, yay. That's kind of selling the dream. If you have this, it's aspirational. So I feel like that's going to be a little bit in conflict at that time. So it's going to be quite interesting in terms of the media in general. And I include, obviously, social media in that as well. 21st, we've got the summer solstice. Really kind of interesting, of course, as the sun enters into Cancer. That's around about 15:58 GMT time. So big celebrations there. And it's kind of that sun in, obviously, in Cancerian energy, from the fluctuating energy of Gemini into the Cancerian, nurturing, family orientated, but also cardinal qualities of things moving a lot quicker with much more direct and purpose than the Gemini, which is mutable and air. So we're moving into slightly different territory then, as we come closer. But it's always a really important time of year, the summer solstice, because that it's good for all kind of forms of making declarations to the universe, making a point of purpose for intention, and also being connected within these like two worlds in a way. So it's a very powerful, magical time at that aspect. 27th, we've got Mercury entering into Cancer. So it comes out that energy of which moves of Mercury in Gemini into Cancer, which again softens. Then finally on the 30th, Neptune goes retrograde as well. So we've got Saturn going retrograde, we've got Neptune. Uranus is moving forward. Jupiter is moving forward in Taurus. But yeah, that Neptune going retrograde again, little bit sort of challenging. It's at the last degrees of Neptune. So if you've got any kind of planets, particularly the sun and moon, at those 25, 26, 27 degrees in Pisces, Virgo, Gemini, or Sagittarius, and again, it's the mutable signs that have been really kind of affected by that. And I think for a majority of people, that's going to feel like, if they had a vision, where's that going to go now? How's that going to be in practical form? To sort of summarize June, I don't think it's going to be as intense as May. I think May was pretty intense energetically. I think June's a little bit more lighter. But I think the Pluto moving back into Capricorn is going to be a major kind of, we've stepped back. And I also think the Saturn retrograde is also going to be a little bit hard work for the four signs that I talked about earlier. So, but it doesn't feel like as intensely volcanic as May has been. It feels a little bit lighter. In terms of the economy and things kind of moving forward, I expect things to begins to move quite fast here, particularly when Mercury goes into Gemini. I think that's going to be, in terms of e-commerce, in terms of buying and selling, I think that's going to work quite nicely and sort of get things going, because Mercury in Taurus has slowed things down, and we had the retrograde of that. So I think things will just move a lot more quicker for a majority of us, or just feel like things are moving much more quickly. So an interesting month as always. But yeah, look out for particularly the 11th and that new moon on the 18th. Those are the big key dates to look out for this month. Again, like the video, press the like button and become a subscriber. And thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all soon for the next video. Thank you very much. Bye.